It's Mike Brennan. We're back with MITech TV. And today we have a couple of our regulars joining us, starting with Kathleen Norton-Schock from Michigan Council of Women in Technology. So take it away, Kathleen.
Thanks for having me as usual, gentlemen. Much appreciated. I also missed ECS because I wasn't flying 1,300 miles to be there for one event. But I understand it was great. 700 people plus, again, many new and existing sponsors. Our major sponsor was Ford, but we always have major and minor companies sponsoring these things. And the keynote was done by one of my best friends, Tracy Ann Palmer, along with Stacy Castor. So the two of them have teamed up to do leadership speaking all over the country, and they were kind enough. Stacy's living in Michigan. Tracy Ann, of course, lives in Texas. But the two of them were here, and they were very inspiring, as was I hear every single speaker. As usual, we had Lila Lazarus as our hilarious and clever mistress of ceremonies, and many, many people were featured, and there was a lot of inspiring presentations. If anybody is interested in reading some of those, please go to mcwt.org. There's a number of places where you can find it. It's rolling the front screen, or just sign up to get our messaging, because my dear friend Storia sends emails at least once a week, and there are always links in them. And the most recent set of links was to that event. But to speak of that event, we have done Woman of the Year in Technology for this would be our 8th year. And I have to, again, give a shout out to another one of my best friends, Becky Price, who was the architect of that award and really had to fight 8 years ago to get people to agree that we should do it. And since then, it has been a roaring success. But one of the changes we made this year, Dr. Orletta Caldwell, who is now celebrating her 1-year anniversary as our executive director, and her team decided, hey, we have so many applications every year, and there are so many points of light, if you will, that represent MCWT, that we're going to expand it from just one person to awards in 4 categories. So that is exactly what we did. And it was very, very exciting. And I'd just like to talk for a minute or two. By the way, the categories are community impact, education, emerging leadership, emerging women leadership, and women's empowerment, right? And we had many, many candidates for each of those particular areas. I'm going to talk for a minute about the people who won. On the community impact side, a woman by the name of Gina King, who, by the way, is the founder of a nonprofit initiative called GINAS, GINAS, Giving Information, Networking, Advocacy, and Support. And this is a pure mentoring organization. She has a very strong mission in DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and she encourages girls who need it to explore all the possibilities within the tech industry, and because of her own background, with a special emphasis on cybersecurity. So she does that through her organization and in other ways, and her mentoring extends way beyond what we would think of, way beyond professional advice, helping these women, young women, often build a supportive and sustainable community. She has over 20 years in tech, really interesting lady from what I've heard, strong experience in a whole variety of things that are important in the technology field, infrastructure, architecture, project management, and cybersecurity in particular. And so she uses all those skills and talents to encourage her mentees. Then our emerging leader was Shivani Reyna, who I do know, who comes from Stellantis. She is the director of automotive data products for Stellantis. And in her day job, she leads a bunch of innovation, both B2B and B2C tech products. She's done trailblazing work in a number of areas. I'm good friends with a few people at Stellantis, so I've heard about Shivani over the years. But one of the things she did was she helped develop monetizable data as a service that Stellantis offers, and also the production and introduction of data products for usage-based insurance, specifically for Stellantis products. She also does a bunch of things on the side. It's amazing she has so much time. Oh, I shouldn't say time. She's probably one of the most efficient women. because she also founded something called ConnectNet Mentoring. And then inside Stellantis, she helped pioneer an employee resource group dedicated to Stellantis connecting women in the technology field. Additionally, a good friend of mine, Senior Vice President of Software at Stellantis, a woman by the name of Mamta Chamarthi, co-founded something called T200 about 4 or 5 years ago. And this is something of an exclusive membership group for CIOs or aspiring CIOs who are women. And it takes a while to get accepted into the group, but these women support each other. It's nationwide, by the way. These women tend to be CIOs, CSOs, or aspiring CSOs. And Shivani has produced a series of podcasts called T200 Cast. It's a dedicated podcast for T200 members only, elevating women in technology. And of course, because I'm the co-founder of Diva Tech Talk, the minute I heard about this a few years ago, I was like, whoa, let me check this out. It's different than Diva Tech Talk, which is open to the world and is much more casual. This tends to be somewhat techie, very techie, but also it brings along, it showcases all these women's skills and how they've advanced technology. Additionally, I don't know how she has the time to do this. She is a volunteer leader on MCWT's advisory board and a very active member there. At the City of Detroit, we honored Christine Burkett. She was the winner for Women Empowerment. And she, of course, is the Director of Digital Equity and Inclusion for the City of Detroit. So she works with Mike Duggan. And she launched something right after she joined, well, within the first year and a half, I think, after she took that job. She launched something called the City of Detroit Certified Tech Hubs, which provides residents at or below poverty access to digital resources, which has been a huge hole, right? It was the digital divide for our city. So that is really an amazing thing she's done. Additionally, she provides mentorship to women, and she teaches tech courses twice weekly to keep her hand in. She is also on the side the CEO of a company called PICF Inc., and which is the only female Black-owned IT consulting firm in Michigan. And she's the CEO of the nonprofit Michigan Youth STEM Tech and Aeronautics. So worthwhile checking with all these women. And then finally, in the education space, which of course is for us so important, because there's no way we can raise that 28% of women in tech to a higher level and a more equitable level without bringing the girls along. Your next guest was honored, Tamara Shoemaker, who is the Vice President of Cyber Patriots. And I think she'll probably talk even more about that, but I doubt that she'll blow her own horn a lot. Having heard her on your podcast, that's not her style, but so let me blow it a little bit. She inspires participation, and she's developed the skills of countless young women, specifically in cybersecurity, where she has an extremely strong background, because she is the Michigan director of the Air Force Association's nationwide Cyber Patriot program. She spent over 20 years working with the NSA. And I never really understood much about the NSA until the last year, where I did some research and went, whoa, that's spooky stuff. But of course, so necessary, right? Particularly in these years of our as a country experiencing
Why
so
don't we
many
invite
threats.
Tamara to jump in real quick and say something? Tamara, I see you on the board. Why don't you
Well,
come
I
in?
presume she's going to do that in her segment.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to say she can make a comment.
Yeah, so, Tamara, turn on your mic.
And your video, we have to see you.
Well, well, particularly turn on your mic if I'm saying anything wrong. But in any case, what Cyber Patriot does is it immerses students in a full year-long learning experience. And I'll talk in a few minutes about our events, right? A whole bunch of camps coming up. Those are much shorter term. This is a full year-long learning experience. It culminates in a final contest where those students compete against their peers at both state and national levels in cyber. And it's become a force, just a force in high school technical education statewide. All the girls, by the way, compete for free. And the way they finance this, the way Shoemaker has financed this, is she's primarily recruited female sponsors and mentors from all levels of technology to come in and do overall team insight and oversight and teaching. So did hopefully
Tamara,
you heard
take a
all that,
bow
Tamara.
here. You know, go ahead, say something.
It was very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable, but I'm really, really glad that the work is getting the visibility that it needs, right? So we can get more people to volunteer. And that was my main thrust, at the event, was to ask the young ladies that are working or that are at MCWT to sort of help us out, right? And volunteer and get involved. So
Yeah.
that's very nice.
Yeah, and I understand, again, I have spies everywhere. With your NSA work, you might enjoy that particular metaphor. But I understand that you did get a chance to meet a lot of people that you may not have ever met before in person. And there are many more. I mean, you just saw the tip of the iceberg, right? At ECS. So that's excellent that you were able to do that. I think everybody's really excited at your award. Hopefully, I don't know if they gave you a standing ovation. Nobody told me, but I'm sure
I
you got a
wouldn't know.
lot
I
of
was
applause.
a deer in headlights, right? So the whole having to be on stage and also having them broadcast something that I had pre-recorded was a little weird for me. Like you said, I don't necessarily like to be out front. So
Except that I will say to you, having been the ex-president of a company and having run a global product line and having done marketing a lot, sometimes having that face to a mission
absolutely.
it amplifies the mission for people.
Thank you.
Right? People will, hopefully more people will reach out to you. And when you pick the phone up to call them to see if you can get some more help, they'll know now who you are.
Very good. Yes.
Right? And that's important.
Absolutely.
Okay, so ECS was a big success. It was great. Now we're launching into one of our busiest seasons, which is summer at MCWT, with our summer technology classes, our summer technology camps, rather. As you know, that's 5th through 8th grade girls, and they all get the opportunity to have 1 week each of exploring the dynamic range of technology. There's still time. If you have a girl of that age that you would like to encourage to register, there's still time to register. They'll learn such things as game design, app development, and robotics programming as usual. There are I think this year it's 12 to 14 camps. We still have some camps where we have big openings though, and I want to mention those. The camp that runs July 15th through the 19th, which is at Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo, still has openings. The camp that runs July 15th through 19th at Davenport University in Grand Rapids still has openings. We're doing one July 22nd through the 26th at Lake Michigan College in Benton Harbor. It has openings. And then July 22nd to 26th at Northern Michigan University at Marquette, right up here, has openings. So most of the other camps are somewhat filled, but we can usually squeeze people in. The way to get to that registration is to go to www.mcwt.org, go through the K through 12 programs. It'll be the first thing revolving up there. There's an application. We make it as easy as possible. And hopefully some additional girls will come and get themselves in the mix. Then the other program, which is very near and dear to my heart, it was launched by a friend of mine from Yangfeng called Reignite. It's still very active and is a year-long program for adults. This is a go-to place for women who may have dropped. We had an epidemic for a while there of women dropping out of their tech careers for a variety of cultural reasons, right? So this is an expanding program that provides a go-to place with mentoring, education, networking, a whole bunch of things for women who want to return to a tech career. So you can go to www.mcwt.org, touch our membership programs, and you can register for Reignite, or if you know someone. The application program for this coming year, it ends May 24th. So we're only 4 days in front of that. So I would strongly suggest, if you know anyone who wants to put their toe back in to technology, it's a great idea for them to come to our site and register. Then this is the first year we're going to have meetups in other parts of Michigan that we haven't been in before. So there'll be one in Jackson, Michigan on May 21st, one in Grand Rapids on May 30th, one in Lansing on June 5th. These are all evening events running from 5 to 7. I suspect there may be some wine involved. There will definitely be exciting conversations. So again, you can go to mcwt.org and register for those if you live in those particular geographies. I think you want to do that. Our technology camps, all of them, I only mentioned the ones we had openings for, but we have quite a few. Our technology camps are out on the website in the K through 12 area. Our big fundraising event of the year is coming up. Hopefully, Michael and Matt, you have put this on your calendar. It is July 22nd in 2024 is the Southwest Michigan 2024 MCWT Golf Classic at Indian Wood. So I would strongly encourage you guys. Sponsorship has been open for a while now. Individual tickets will open up soon. Get to the website, take a look at that, touch the event space under the drop down. We cleaned up the website, as I mentioned on our last call. And so you can find things even more easily. I think it was pretty good before, but now it's great. And at least put it up on your radar screen. And for you guys, put it on your calendars and see if you want to pop by with microphones and talk to people. And then finally, that's the biggest fundraiser of the summer. But then we follow on with a fundraiser in September for what I think of as the thumb. Well, it's not really the thumb, but it's up in the Midland area. I guess it is the thumb. We'll be doing the West Michigan 2024 Golf Classic on September 16th. That will take place at the Stonewater Country Club in Caledonia.